Okay, Sarah Azari, let me ask you, overall, what do you think of the closing statements? And based on the evidence that came out during the course of the trial, who do you think is being persuaded most by the jurors or to the
Gosh,
jury?
listen, it's hard because the prosecution has a very strong case. But, the defense did a great job in their closing. They highlighted the lack of evidence, the lack of motive, the lack of a weapon, the problems with the DNA evidence, the shoddy investigation. And I can't count how many times the defense attorney highlighted that these people had unlimited federal resources available to them and they failed to use it and they failed to do their job right. In fact, they appointed a rookie investigator to do her very first interrogation in this case. So, but again, I think it's going to turn on the battle of the experts, whether the jury believes the DNA expert for the defense, the fact that there were other markers belonging to other people that just went untested, or whether they're going to go with the credibility of the expert for the prosecution. And then, we got to look at the story that Baena Rivera testified to yesterday. Is it plausible that for hours he spoke to officers and he just did not tell them because he was in fear for the life of his kids and his family, that he was acting in the direction of two masked men that led him to Mollie? I mean, it really is kind of a far-fetched story. But then the optics are of this humble, hardworking family guy that you kind of want to believe. And then that brings me to the issue of a pretty much all-white jury, determining the fate of this brown immigrant who's undocumented. I really don't know what to think at this point after hearing the closing arguments.
Okay, so Sarah, the prosecutor wants to keep going about this confession, but as you indicated earlier, there were so many other investigative steps with all the resources they had that they didn't follow. And we used to always do this as homicide prosecutors. We would eliminate every single possible argument the defense could make to say they didn't check this, it was a rush to judgment. Talk to me a little bit more about that DNA evidence, and how it could affect what went on here. And secondly, what did you think about the idea that the prosecutors never got the boyfriend's records, supposedly that the alibi where he was at the construction site? Do you see that as a investigative failure to cut off that argument?
100% Bob, look, there's a lot they didn't do that they could have done. So that's how we as defense attorneys cast doubt. And that's what this defense attorney has argued. The DNA is problematic. Now, typically, DNA evidence is strong forensic evidence, and in this day and age, it is hard to challenge that kind of evidence. But in this case, you have a situation where there is a mixture of three different people's DNAs. You have the idea that Baena Rivera's DNA is not in the trunk of his own car. Then you have something like 14 other markers belonging to other potential suspects that just goes
Mhm.
unaddressed, untested.
Right.
And so this all allows the jury to find reasonable doubt in the
Mhm.
prosecution's case. That is there really, did they really just want to close this case as the defense has argued and just be done with it and blame it on the brown guy? Or did
Right.
they really do a full investigation? And the same goes with the witnesses that they didn't call.
Break